Tonight on 8.5-bit, A Hat in Time, Stardew Valley, and Battle Crashes. It's not a good name.
It's a terrible name.
Welcome, friends of all designs, to episode 228, which we will admit now is take 2 of 228 because I didn't push record.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Paul, and joining me today is my good friend, James.
Hello.
And friend, I have a question for you.
Is it the same question?
It's the same question as first time?
That's good because I already forgot.
Are you excited for PAX?
Oh, of course I'm excited about
Great.
PAX.
So we're going to rush through the first half hour or so that we recorded.
We can get the cliff notes.
We'll get the cliff notes. The cliff notes are PAX Australia is next week.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be hosting 2 panels there. We've spoken about them on the show before, but just as an update, Friday morning, 10:30, we are doing the weirdest video games of all time. And then on Sunday afternoon, 3:30, we are doing the best, worst games of all time, Jurassic Park Trespasser. Which we... I hate repeating an entire conversation.
Which we're
should
both
be very excited
to talk about.
That is probably the thing I am most excited to get out there and really show off. And man, it's not hard to talk positively about that game because that game is really cool. Mm-hmm. And so excited.
You know, when playing it, sometimes I'm surprised, like, because it looks like Half-Life 2 era. And like I'm playing it, and then a little thing will happen, which is like, no, this is like next gen era.
This is Half-Life 1 era.
Yeah. And it's just, I'm taken back by it. Like, oh, this tech seems too good for like the context that it's sitting in.
Yeah. Well, and in the defense of its terrible reception at launch, it was not as patched as the version we are playing.
No.
And computers weren't as powerful, so I'm sure the physics wasn't quite as was good. The word as functional as reliable. Let's call it.
Well, I mean, one of the things that depending on the physics engine, if your physics engine is somehow tied to your frame rate, when the frame rate drops, you can get all kinds of jankiness.
Physics,
So potentially the experience, like, it's already janky enough, but with potentially it was a lot worse.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I was spoiler because I couldn't get it to happen. In that game, you can shoot yourself in the head by pushing the gun against a wall until it has rotated the barrel directly to you, and you fire. Oh my god, so close, but I couldn't make it do it. I tried for a while, and I'm like, this is going to be a lot of footage of me just trying to commit suicide, and that's feeling already pretty touchy. So we can just say that it can happen, but it's not as easy as
Well, I think the systems in the game, I assume, would allow it.
Yeah. It's a very systems game. It's good. So PAX Australia, if you've never been, you should come. It's great fun. There's still tickets available, I believe, at least some of the days. You
can come hang out with us if you want.
Yeah, come hang out, have a drink.
Hit us up on Twitter.
I spend almost all my time in the indie section because that's me. But yeah, it's a fantastic show for all types of games.
I like to go to the beanbags and nap.
Do you ever nap in the beanbags?
Yep.
Because, I have had PAX naps, but I just walk back to the hotel room.
I have like gone and just fallen asleep in the beanbags before.
The problem with that is that they frown on the one hand down the pants, which is required for a proper beanbag nap.
I can get by without it.
Really?
No, like, you're talking like Ted Bundy style. Like,
yeah. I mean like, okay, yes, of course, I'm full ball fondling. But, generally you just need the casual, like, break of the waistband.
No, all I need is just like subtle white noise. And the din of PAX. It's a very distinct sound that comes out of PAX. Mm-hmm. And so there's like this kind of very soothing din that when you're in kind of like the board game area and like the speed run area, it's like this kind of docile tones, people kind of commentating against over the speed run and like the people chattering in the background. I just go straight to sleep.
I'm pretty so I think this is pretty much what PAX sounds like in that area. Can you just go make white noise for me? Just like, shh. Get ready to joust.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah. And then the chuckling and the giggling.
I wonder if 5 years in a row, Joust will still be being played.
PAX at the game of the show, Joust. Still.
Yeah.
I reckon it will. Like, it's such a
great public show. Yeah. It does make me wish that there was just a little bit more experimentation with that format because Just has got weird down there in recent times.
Yeah, well, now there's rules. And
Now there's rules because some people got too serious about it.
It's gotten very structured. Like many things, once it's like... remember like the Brisbane Zombie Walk?
Yes.
And when it came out, it's like it was just like this fun thing that everyone did. And then after like 4 or 5 years, it's like, no, it's down this one thing and you have to do this and you have to do this.
You have to walk in the back alley of the warehouse district at 3 a.m. without making any noise.
When originally it was meant to be this disruptive thing where you walk down.
If no one was involved in Zombie Walk, because it's all over the world, when it was sort of first going, you just literally would walk through a city acting as zombies, and people would like put on like little shows, so they'd have like they'd plant people to get attacked and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, it was almost like a flash mob.
Yeah, sort of like a flash mob thing. It was like kind of energetic and fun. And then I don't know about everywhere, but at least in our great state.
Well, I think just generally in Australia, which is a very authoritatively conservative country.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Given our background.
Yes. They just got rid of all that, and for a while they weren't actually even walking anywhere. They were just allowed to be in a park in a completely untraversed area of town. It's like, well, that's not really...
It's not, like, that's why I stopped going. Like the first one was like, oh, it's fun, and then kind of lost the spirit of what it is. Yeah. And that's what Joust has turned into at PAX Australia.
A little bit.
It's on the way.
That's our story of Joust.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else we're really excited to see? I just don't know that much that's down there.
Yeah, I was just trying to think from a AAA perspective. I don't know if like
what's AAA?
No,
that's what we can talk about tonight.
Because I think that's something that I generally look at more than you do when we go down there. I hope that... I was going to say Assassin's Creed, but I think that's out next week anyway.
Oh, is it that soon? Let's see if that reads on camera.
No. No, does it not?
No.
Sorry. Give it here. I'll walk it up.
No. The camera doesn't autofocus anyway. Okay. It's fine. It says AAA sucks.
Don't say that. Don't say that. It has its place.
I don't believe that, but sometimes I feel it.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. We can get into that a little bit later.
We'll get into
it.
Yes.
Why not? I mean, we've got a very light show, so it works out well. Shall we move on with said show?
Yes, let's.
Actually, before we go, there is one game I got sent a press release for.
Yeah.
It's at PAX. I'm very excited.
What is it?
I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's just an indie little let's just call it an adventure game where you play like a Roomba.
Oh, is it like you're a Roomba that becomes sentient?
Yes.
I think it's called like Rummy or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Or something
I think it's a 4-letter thing. Yeah. And like, it's not just like you're a Roomba solving Roomba related puzzles. Yeah. It has like emotions.
Yeah.
And like you've been abandoned, or at least like something has happened to your master and you're going on a great journey. I'm looking going like, this is amazing. This is what I want. This is what I want, an emotional Roomba game.
Yeah.
So that's high on my list. Good times. Okay. So speaking of hipster games, I've been playing A Hat in Time.
Yes, you like your
2 weeks.
collecty third-person platformathons.
I do. I even like ukulele. It's a solid B, maybe B minus.
It's a solid Marvel.
Marvel's been shifting a little bit.
Oh
maybe
yeah.
Back to
Got
B+.
Thor out pretty soon. It's looking all right. Looking fun.
Gonna butcher the director's name again, so I won't even try.
Oh, and there's that New Mutants as well. That trailer looked cool.
Maybe, I don't know. It could be.
We'll see.
But I'm really, really excited for Justice League.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm excited for 6 months after its release when we're watching it on DVD, very drunkenly with a bunch of film
like the way I watch DC movies, it is about a year after the fact on Netflix over about 3 days.
You have to watch the extended cuts.
Yeah, but over about 3 days.
Yeah, it's very fun. Yeah. No, I recommend doing it highly inebriated with smart-ass friends. That is the way this is done.
Okay.
It is great. The only DC movie that is just irredeemable trash was Suicide Squad, because it didn't even try to do anything. It was just boring from beginning to end.
I thought that one did try, but it was edited out.
No, I don't think it tried.
You didn't even think it tried?
I think it was just drab from conception to... I think the editing hurt it from being like a choice drab to being just like the dreary, uninteresting crap that it was. And then they accidentally made a good movie with Wonder Woman. So. And like that gets elevated because like it was someone said like, it wasn't that good. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not saying it's a diamond in the rough. I'm saying it's an opal in the shit. It's like still pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's my A Hat in Time. So Hat in Time, indie developed, kickstarted, third person action platformer, or just 3D platformer collectathon, where you were playing a young girl. Oh, I guess young. You're small. A small girl. I don't know the age. Which is probably an alien or something. In a spaceship, you lose all your time because the ship runs on time, and you have to go on a planet and get all your timepieces.
So
back.
how do you collect time?
It's basically getting the shines in Mario.
Oh, okay.
It's the end of a challenge. You get a hourglass back.
Does it do anything interesting with time travel?
No.
So it's just
a thing to
it's just
collect.
a thing. It's the MacGuffin is time.
Yes, and part of the plot, which is unrequired, is about someone wanting to steal your time because they want to go back and fix everything.
Oh,
so the person that wants to fix everything is then the antagonist at that point because they want to steal your time, and you need that time to get back home.
I'm so confused by time being the resource.
Time is both a fuel to use. That doesn't really matter. So my feelings on this game have been quite mixed.
Okay.
Because they mainly showed off through most of its development an area called Mafia Town, which is this small, like quite built-up city. So just think of it as a small island, lots of buildings, and then platforms everywhere and things to jump on. And I always thought it looked kind of messy and not a well-designed 3D space. And as I played it, I didn't change that opinion. I think it was like, it looks kind of cool, the area, but one of the problems the game has is that, and this is actually not a problem for you at all, this might actually be the 3D platformer for you. Movement is incredibly easy.
Mm-hmm. It's good because I get frustrated at movement.
Very early in the game, you have basically 4 jumps.
Oh,
you go
okay.
normal jump,
Yep.
double jump in the air, then you can do a dash in the air, and then after the dash, you can cancel out of it, do one more little jump.
Oh.
Which means you can jump incredible
So you can
goddamn
basically
distances.
fly.
And then, when you hit a wall, you try to run up that wall a little bit.
Okay.
So if you don't quite make a ledge, you'll grab onto it anyway and pull yourself up.
There's a bit of mobility mechanics in there.
Yes. And as the genre goes, that makes movement like easy, but also takes away, like this whole area, there is no challenge getting anywhere. You just say, I want to go over there. I'll just point in that direction and jump, and I'll get there. With wall running and triple 4 times quad jumping and everything. It's just like, yep, I just sort of point that direction and go. That said, it was still an attractive area with lots of little touches, and weirdly, lots of little interactive things in the world. Like, I can kick this ball or something like that. And those things aren't in any other level. It's just that opening level. It's like, we tried this stuff and it was cute, and then we dropped it because it was pointless. That is the story of this game. Because as I moved from world to world, the actual structure of the game and design elements altered. And became, in some ways I'll say, more mature as they went. I think this game was straight up developed
like end to end.
End to end. So other than the finale, which I think is literally tacked on.
So what you're saying is, as the time investment went into the game, it got better?
Yeah. Kinda. Or at least more interesting. So I was kind of disappointed when I first started it because it's structured very much Mario 64 style, where you've got your little hub, which is your spaceship. You go into the world, and it's like, you're getting this timepiece, which is level 1-1 or something like that. Chapter 1. So world 1, chapter 1. And then once you get the timepiece, you get kicked back out. You've got to start the level again, and the world will be slightly reconfigured for this next challenge. And I'm like, aren't we a little bit past this? Like Odyssey is literally a week away, and they have got rid of all of this sort of idea of like going into the same space and just doing a different challenge in it and just let it all exist in the same space, surely. And they had a few areas in that first world, like just I think one majorly. So they do things like changing the weather and a few conditions like that. And then there's one that sort of opens up an entirely different area you can access. Like, okay, this game is fine, it's fun, but I don't think it's got much push to it. The second area, each act that I've played, I haven't done every act in that because I jumped onto the later worlds and I haven't gone back yet. It's just a totally different level. It's like, oh, okay, so this is all in the same world, but each chapter is a different level entirely.
Does it feel a bit Psychonauts, where each area is really distinct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're totally different. So Mafia Town, and then it's a cinema world, And then after that's like a Halloween world and stuff like that. They're
But
incredibly...
it's not about different eras of time either. It's
No.
yeah.
There's nothing in the game about time.
Sorry, I'm a bit
You're
hung
really
up.
hung up on time.
Well, like, I thought
you're
like,
literally just collecting hourglasses. It's the only time element.
Just because I like time travel stuff so much.
Yeah, this has no time travel element.
Okay. Is
So
it they wanted it to be a pun of like Stitch in time, but it's a hat in time? I don't know. Okay, anyway, I'll leave it. I'll move on.
I think I worked out it was something a while ago, and now I can't remember what
I'll
that
let it
thing
go.
was. Yeah, let it go.
Okay.
It's not going anywhere. Buddy.
Okay.
So anyway, and then the third area goes back to being sort of a little bit reconfigured one, but having massive new areas, and it is a huge space. And then by the time you're up to basically the last world before the finale, it's Mario Odyssey style.
Oh,
It doesn't.
okay.
It is one huge area, and each of these areas, and it's broken into a large hub. Let's just call it another hub. But you do not get kicked out after you pass each challenge. You just go back through this whole world and everything. It's like you've changed the game design several times through here, and I don't hate it. It actually means this is a really varied game.
But like, surely that's going to hurt them though. Like if they're really front loading it with their oldest, kind of like least polished content.
I don't know because it's a small game. I mean, I think I probably put 8 hours or so into it. But I mean, is it going to hurt? Like it's getting decent reviews and it seems to be pleasing the fan base and people that are going to buy it. I think they just get to discover more as they go along. And the big thing is it's uneven. And then there's lots of things that just don't really work. One of the main mechanics in the game is that you have different hats, and hats have different abilities. And
Do any of them take you through time?
No, none of them take you through time.
God damn it.
Well, like,
Oh yes, they do.
no, that's more like a dimension shift. But the thing is, a bunch of the hats are just like basic abilities that you wish you had all the time.
Yeah.
So having to push a button to switch a hat in the middle of a jump because you then want to go into a run or something, or because one of them literally makes you run, which then, okay, spoiler, you can upgrade to instead of just running, you pull out a little moped. Which is also fun on its own.
Cute. Yep.
But yeah, you just end up like, and then you get badges that you equip that give you like special perks and stuff. But again, some of them are just kind of, well, you want it on all the time. Like you need one of the hats is a hat that freezes you into a statue, which lets you basically launch off platforms. So you instead of just hitting like a ground pound button, you have to go hat, freeze, select, ground pound.
Yeah.
Okay, now at the other end, I can get out of the hat because the hat is useless except for that one thing. It's like, it's a mechanic which it works, but it doesn't really add anything. If you just like maybe even just on the fly as you did things was just switching hats as you ran around or something, and you didn't have to manually control it. I mean, maybe give you the option, but it just said, oh, you can push the ground pound button and you put on the hat just for that move. Maybe that could be cute. But it doesn't add anything gameplay.
Yeah, like it sounds like it should be a bit more Metroid, and like I know, like Metroid: Samus Returns has a bit of swapping different items and things, the ability to do things, but there's still like the core set that gets expanded as you go. Yeah,
you don't really have to switch things in and out.
I'd have to call on, I'd have to turn on big jump. Like you can just have a big jump. If you want to unlock that ability.
So I think that's a bit ineffective.
Yeah,
like none of it's bad, and the thing is, I had fun through almost all the game, which is where it gets.
I think it's probably better though than like Metal Gear Solid 3, where like you had to change your camo.
The camo shit. Oh, good God.
By opening the menu.
Get
my brick on.
Yes, hat changing is you hold down a button and you push a direction and you've changed.
That's
the hat.
not so bad.
It's not terrible. It's not awful. But the big thing sort of comes down to the platforming, and as I say, it's super super easy. Which means the game's more about exploring spaces, and those spaces are fun to explore. It's not super demanding in its collectibles. It's got a few core ones to collect, but then most of the other stuff is just a currency, so it's not like, even if there's 200 of them in a level, you're not supposed to get all 200 because every time you load into the level, they're back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's only like a few core things.
It's like coins for collecting or something.
Yeah. It's like there's coins everywhere, but if you need to get the stars, well, there's only 10 of those in each level, that sort of thing. And so that sort of comes to the finale, where they just suddenly throw an obstacle course at you, and like there's these sort of these side levels which are just sort of space-time warps you go through, and those are like the Mario Sunshine, like here's a thing floating in space and it's an actual geometric jumping puzzle, and those are okay, still a bit easy. But then it says, okay, here is like a Bowser Mario 64 you got to run this gauntlet before you have your final boss fight, and you just quadruple jump your way through that thing without even thinking.
Yeah.
It's like, yep, you've made this game way too easy on the platform. It's like, because this is not a challenge, so it's not interesting. And that's the only level that I think is just a failure, because it doesn't have an interesting space to explore. At least everything else has characters everywhere. I mean, a lot of things you can fight are also things you can talk to, and there's just a lot of interactions between different things and just little jokes everywhere. So exploring is rewarding and fun, and like they'll have, where they're doing the collectibles, they'll often be placed in something that requires a little bit of like, again, the jumping's not hard, but you have to map out where you're going to have to get up there, or that sort of thing.
Is it a bit like kind of Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, where the traversal is fairly easy, but it's more plotting out the course of where you want to go?
Way looser than that.
Okay.
Way looser. Like literally, it is. When I'm saying like you jump at a wall and you run up a good like 10 feet of the wall.
Oh, okay.
So you just sort of launch yourself anywhere near the top of a wall, and you will get up that wall. So you don't. It's no paths are that specific.
Yeah.
Very exceptional. There's a few like in the air ones in the spooky area.
Yeah.
It's so spooky.
So where would you put it, say, compared to ukulele?
See, I think the movement is better in ukulele, but that's because it's more traditional. And in sometimes there were things like ledge grabbing. Kind of wish that was in ukulele, because when you just miss a jump in a 3D platformer, is it annoying? I'd rather miss it fully than just miss it.
Yeah.
And you can still do that with game design and everything. So I kind of wish that, but when it comes to things like boss designs, I didn't like the first boss very much in this game. But then as they went along, they were quite inventive and fun and energetic. And none of them were hard, but they were fun.
Yeah.
And that was all right. I think ukulele is a more consistent game. There goes the new dog, Dusty. Scaring the living shit out of James and me, and probably anyone listening as well, because holy shit, the dog just exploded under the table. Oh, my heart. Can't take that kind of stress. I would put them pretty similar. Well, actually, here's the telling thing. I finished Hat in Time, haven't finished ukulele.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, for what you've described to me about Hat in Time, it does sound more like something I might check out.
Yes. I think it would. And a few of the critiques I've seen of it are coming from very much old school platform. Well, this isn't challenging enough. I'm like, that's kind of what drove off a lot of people that from old school ones.
Games I got to play, I don't mind. Like Hob was pretty easy. I really enjoyed it.
It was really easy.
Yeah.
Too easy.
Yeah, no, but I finished it, didn't I?
Yeah, but you were a bit sick that day. No, Hob was good.
Hob was, it
was real
good.
So I think that sort of wraps up Hat in Time. It is cute, and you do get to get hat modifiers.
You play that on Steam? Oh, sorry, on...
I was playing it on PC.
PC, yeah. Is it on Switch as well?
No, I think there is some console plans, but I don't think it's on anything yet.
Like a $20 game?
Oh, God. Here's a big problem with it, and partly why you might want it on PC rather than the eventual console release. By default, one of the ugliest games I've seen in a long time. I was describing it to you last week, and I said it's got the worst Unity depth of field ever. It's not Unity, it's Unreal. They just said, like, okay, anything that's not directly like at your plane, just blur the living fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Just kill it. Just kill it.
So you turn that shit off?
Turn that shit off.
For a game with, like, I would imagine open world exploration games, you want to be able to see where you want to go.
Yeah, and like, it partly it's there to mask, like, a little bit of pop in, but mainly in the first level. I didn't even notice any in the other levels. It's like to mask a few mistakes in the distance, but this game still looks better if you can see the mistakes.
Yeah.
So I probably spent half an hour at least tweaking the game to make it look good. And once I did, it looks really sharp. It looks great. And it's got, and that last area I'm talking about where like the game opens up. Dusty's getting excited.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Utterly like, oh wow, you guys are really learning your art as you go along.
If only you could go back and touch up that early stuff.
Yeah, touch it up. Yeah, and it's not like the first stuff looks bad, but it's not as striking and confident as the later stuff. So a real mixed bag of nuts.
Was it cheap?
I haven't checked the price because it got sent a code. Full disclosure, I got sent a code for a video game. It's the only one I got sent a code for this week, but I've only got one of the game, and it's real old, and it was cheap. But I expect it's a $20 game. Yeah. And as for that, I think it is pretty solid. So why don't you tell me about Battle Chasers?
Yeah. So, terrible name.
Battle Chasers Nightwar.
No, Barrel Chases Nightwar. So yeah, it's a game. Guys, because we missed the show last week, I've forgotten so much about it. But I will remember.
Darksiders devs made it.
Darksiders devs. There we go. So it's a gorgeous looking game. It's like a you sort of go around kind of a node based map. Taking on
node.
It is a node based.
I thought you said no base.
No, like a node based.
No
map.
base allowed. Only troops.
This
is Company of Heroes.
Doing kind of like a jab.
What is that an impression of?
I don't know. You did Company of Heroes? Is that what you said?
Well, there's no bases.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. Okay, no, I'll remember what this game's about now.
Okay, good.
Okay. You give me some time.
That moment to just remember what the game is.
I actually probably should have gone back and replayed like the beginning of it. And this is actually part of the problem. I'll get to in a bit. So it's in this game you play this kind of small girl who has this kind of magical gauntlet to kind of punch things real hard, and a couple of characters. It kind of opens with this like very kind of like Saturday morning cartoon styles like setup. I think it's actually based on a comic. It's a comic book series called Battle Chasers. I don't know. Maybe explains why they
probably no one's noticed because of the name.
Yeah, terrible, forgettable name.
Are you into Battle Chasers? I don't know. Maybe. It's hard to remember.
And so yeah, so the core game's kind of broken into a couple different experiences. So part of it is you're in these like exploration mode, and this is where you're in kind of this isometric view, walking around, kind of exploring the area. It's randomly generated. And you kind of see enemies. You can go up and initiate combat. It drops into kind of your JRPG style kind of battle system.
So I'm just trying to picture this.
Yeah.
So are we saying like almost Diablo-ish or Hobbish?
No, I'd say much more Diablo.
Yeah, okay.
Much more Diablo-like in its perspective.
But then when it's in combat, it goes into a turn-based, almost Final Fantasy-ish system.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And it actually looks a lot like Diablo 3. Like you can see a lot of kind of like...
So a lot of rainbows.
A lot of rainbows, a lot of unicorns. And no, it's a lot of the kind of texture work.
Unicorns in...
I don't think there's unicorns in the crazy world.
Did rainbows actually make it into the final version of Diablo 3? Oh, good.
Yeah, there's a cow level.
Oh, but I mean just in regular levels, because people were so angry.
Oh, I don't remember if there were rainbows in the regular levels.
One of the like early screenshots released had a rainbow in it. And people
were like in the mist or something.
Yeah. You can't be fucking rainbows in there.
It's probably in there somewhere. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they probably would have put a few in to deliberately troll
just
people.
to troll, yeah.
They would have put a rainbow through Diablo, just like Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So when you're in exploration mode, you walk around the area. They have some abilities you can use outside of the main combat. So there'll be things like you can do like a shield to kind of avoid taking damage on traps and things, or a dash to get through traps. Or
I was going to liken it to Pokemon with special moves. What are they called?
Yeah, well, there's...
But then I remembered I didn't know what they were actually called because I'm not
the
bad.
TMs.
That's it, yeah.
I mean, in that you kind of walk around and there's people... You don't really talk to people, though, or anything quite like that. There are some interesting encounters where you might come across someone who'll have like some random challenge. Like the big part of it is that it's randomly generated. So you might have an encounter with an NPC who will say, "Hey, do you want to gamble or something to like basically heads or tails for?" Or you can choose to fight them. It's kind of up to you. But basically, you go through, you clear out these exploration areas, and then you kind of move back to this world map. And then the world map, there's kind of like enemies you can choose to engage in, but the combat is okay. Like it's like I kind of, after playing Octopath Traveler, I kind of preferred Octopath.
Man, you've swung so much on the Octopath.
Oh, I know. Actually, like I'm super
You went
excited.
from like total dismissive to like, hey, this is actually
it's because I played the interesting character and I loved it. Yeah. And it's got some smart systems in it. Like it's got like some synergies in the combat that are easy to pick up. Like it's well communicated. So if you attack with a certain character, they might put some status effect on it, and then you have another character who could exploit that status effect. And it's easy to pick up on what's going on. They have this kind of energy system I like, where your basic attacks generate effectively temporary mana. So it's got like this kind of almost Dark Souls-esque thing where you leave the main area, you go quest, you have kind of limited heals and things like that, but when you go back to the town and sleep, everything comes back. So you do kind of push out, see how far you can go.
Does the generated area stay the same?
They will, once you're out and go back in, I believe they change. I didn't actually go back and replay the same area. But yeah, so like there's this mechanic if you can generate health or generate basically mana, so you can kind of go longer. All that stuff was kind of cool. Unfortunately, I very quickly fell into I would just mash A to get through the combat as quick as possible, because my basic attacks were kind of doing the job. It wasn't like Octopath where I had a fight and it was very clear. Okay, no, I need to understand how these mechanics work to progress. This I feel like I can more just go A, and kind of just get through it. After a while, it does say, "Hey, this is a low level enemy. You know, do you want to skip it?" I'm like, yeah, there's no good reason for me to
please.
to go fight it. But I still found most of them was real easy. When you go to one of the kind of quest areas like the exploration zones, you can pick what difficulty you want to do it at. And so I immediately went straight for hard because I was like having a pretty easy time. Like I'll just go to the legendary, basically middle tier mode, because you have to unlock the epic really, mode. Really mode. And I was still walking through no wipes. Like it felt real easy. To the point where I kind of got bored. And this is why I didn't play it at all last week, and I struggled to kind of remember exactly what it was. Because while the art looks amazing, it's got a strong loot system, and I love loot systems.
You do,
yeah. Like there's rares and there's greens and blues and purples, and I'm getting all this, my loot and upgrading my characters and all that kind of stuff. The moment to moment is me mashing A to get through combat, and as much as I love loot, I also love fun moment to moment, and it's just not delivering it. There's all these extra systems in there with the crafting and things like that, but
you got no reason to
I've got no reason to care. And what kind of surprised me is like I put like 9 hours into it. Like,
so it's not like you were just in the tutorial.
No. Like I sat down, like I got to spend a day playing this game, and I was like, oh yeah, I really enjoy it. Like the characters, I like the writing. The art looks good. It's got like a loot system that I like. And then I went back like the next day and I started it up and I started doing combat, and I was like, I'm just hitting A. I just don't feel like this game is offering me an interesting challenge. And I just kind of stopped playing it. I don't know if it ramps up. I kind of wish that it just let me up the difficulty. But if upping the difficulty meant I just would take more damage, that's not interesting. Like I want it to be, I have to understand the systems.
You need to add complexity.
And I didn't really feel like that was there even after playing it for quite a while. It looks gorgeous. It's like
You've been saying that a lot.
Yeah, but that's really the best thing I've going for it now. It's a little hard to recommend. Like it's, unless you want like a really chill out pretty thanks. Like unless you want a real chill out, like basically you want like a Diablo that's crossed with a JRPG, where it's more about the loot and grinding the same areas again and exploring stuff. Like maybe, but
you've sold me on it.
It's at first I thought it might actually be something you'd be interested in, but then after I played it for a while, I'm like no, I'm pretty sure this isn't for Paul.
What does Paul have tolerance for? Not much.
No. Yeah.
So let's talk about Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, we can talk about Blade Runner now.
We're just talking about like pretty things that are kind of hollow and people like for some inexplicable reason.
You just end up hitting A lot to kind of
skip. Why does she let him go when she also knows it's not like right in the head? I don't know, whatever. Anyway,
I just kind of think if that movie did have like a hold X to skip, because you know what I can just imagine like I'd be watching the movie and it'd be some pretty shot. And I get bored and I start mashing buttons and I'd see the little timer come up. I'm like, oh, I can skip some of this.
Does being like the minority of people that don't like Blade Runner 2049, are we like the new underclass? Are we like the true minority?
I don't know.
We now understand true oppression because we don't like Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah. I can appreciate it.
Yeah. I've been asking all these questions and no one's giving me answers. They're just saying, yeah, that's a problem, but it's so good. I'm like, not with all the problems I just listed. And they just say, "Pa," and they scoot me aside and say, "Begone, you pretentious." They look at me and say, "You liked Mother." I'm like, "I did. I'll defend it." And they go like, "You can't have taste in movies. Fuck you. Off you go, you little pretentious twat."
But part of me also, I don't want to ruin it for anyone. Like if there's a whole bunch of people that are agreeing on liking something.
Oh yes, I'm currently pushing some of my more film analytical friends to go see it definitely because I need someone to argue against.
Yeah.
Because no one's arguing against me with it.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I don't want to prove them wrong. I want answers. I want to find out what I'm wrong
what they
about.
like. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to have an understanding of it because I mean, I do wonder if I like the original less now in retrospect. But I mean, I've always liked the original, and I feel like what everyone else is seeing this sequel recapturing isn't what I saw the original as. So maybe there's something in there.
Yeah.
Maybe I misinterpreted the original film.
See, I interpreted the original as a bit boring with some nice scenes in it.
I don't think that's necessarily incorrect either, but I think Amy's made me say "but" in weird ways these days. I go "but." Yeah, I bet those nice scenes I think are very nice.
Oh, they're very good.
And
the Tears in the Rain is
Tears in the Rain is fantastic.
It's a good monologue.
Actually meeting Tyrell.
Yeah. Candle burning twice as bright. It's good.
There's a lot of
good
really,
stuff.
really strong things. And like Deckard is not that important to the original film, in my view. Other people disagree with me.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah,
He's certainly a part of
I actually
it,
remember
but-
more of Rachel. Like, to me, she was more interesting than Deckard.
It's definitely a Roy Batty Rachel film for me, and Deckard is certainly the vessel of which we travel through this world.
Yeah.
Much like I am traveling through the vessel of my body until I reach the glorious afterlife.
Dude, spoilers. There's no afterlife.
Oh no, I'm downloading Afterlife by LucasArts.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Man, I should go play that game. It's great.
It's pretty good.
It is actually pretty great. I remember whenever I go, like, I got the itch to play SimCity 2000. Like, I could play SimCity 2000.
Or I could just play this exact same game with devils and
Devil-
angels.
Yeah. My roads were always super expensive in hell because you had to make them real long because
Yeah.
that was the best way to make people not enjoy it. It's like playing SimCity and deliberately making a shitty road system because the goal is to make it as unpleasant as possible.
Yeah. We need.
But then I had such high like road maintenance fees in hell.
Yeah.
Like I had to like manage it where like heaven was running smooth like with my road system, but man, hell. Foot traffic
that's
nightmare.
We need to like get like a version of like not Simpsons Skylines. What was the cities?
Like
what was the good one?
It's not Cities in
Skyline.
Motion. I think it's City Skylines. Yeah.
Yeah. We need a game like that, which is they give you like perfectly functional cities, and then the game's called Terrible Man. and just
Maybe
how bad can you make it with the most inefficient decisions possible?
I imagine you got these advisors trying to tell you to do the right thing, and you're like, no.
I don't know what we're going to do.
We can put that coal plant in the middle of the CBD. That's fine.
That's no problem.
The power will get there faster.
It's like, we're in a frozen environment. Can water pipes be above ground? I think so. All sorts of great things could happen. Man, that would be interesting as a design challenge.
You know how The Sims has like these Sims challenges?
Yeah.
Like they have these like people, because Sims isn't a game.
Yeah.
There's like this community of like, we have to figure out like ways to make The Sims fun.
Yeah.
And so there'll be these things like you have to like have characters and they have to be completely random and you have to try to get them to have like attractive children or something. Like it'll just be like random like challenges the community sets. I kind of want that, but with like city building now, where it's like you just have to like do something real dumb in your city.
No. Here it is.
Yeah. Only roundabouts.
No. So it gives you like a perfectly functional city, and then it says, "This is the intro to the game. Congratulations, you've won the Olympics. You have 3 years."
Start clearing that shit out.
That would be fucking amazing.
Yeah. Go into those poor neighborhoods and just dragging the bulldoze.
And it's like, and then there's a recovery period afterwards where it's like, now try to make your city useful again. You've got all this expensive and useless infrastructure.
Yeah. But you politically have to keep it. Because like you can't just tear down your stadiums. You've invested in them now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what can you? It's like, could we store hay in this stadium? I was driving to the Gold Coast a few weeks back, and we're going past, and there's just all the like in the middle of nowhere. Suddenly, like all these like high-rise accommodation being built, and we're like, what the hell is going on? And they all look weird. Oh shit! Commonwealth Games. Oh, this place is going to be a slum in 2 years.
The property prices are going to be real low.
Oh yeah. Do you want to live in a shitty athlete's village? Well, We gotta. Who knows? Maybe it'll be the best new place in Queensland.
Maybe.
It won't be. But
No.
maybe. Are you gonna go to the Commonwealth Games?
Probably not.
Right on, brother.
Well, if it's like the Olympics where they have to fill stadiums, and like maybe they'll start giving out free tickets to just like, hey,
I'm sure you'll be able to go and see just a random thing because people don't want to go and see half the stuff.
I'll go see javelin. Javelin sounds fun.
Does it?
Why not? Or like, what's the thing where they throw the disc?
Discus. I mean, am I about to school you on athleticism, Jay? What's the one with the disc? You know, what's that like game like golf but you do with a frisbee? You mean frisbee golf? Yeah, that's the one. Oh, you know when they play polo, but it's in the water.
You know what I was doing today when I was walking home? So I watched this video the other day about ball walking, ball walking.
Ball walking.
Yeah. So it was actually a video on how walking changed. I think in the 1400s.
Okay.
Because basically soles came on feet, on shoes, and so people could walk heel first instead of ball first. Because if you have just like leather, you want to test the ground before you walk on it. So so walking changed. And so they got me examining my own walking because I started thinking about my own walking a lot. Oh, no. So first off, I tried to do ball walking. I was like, I'm going to give this a go. And then I kind of realized I already do it. And I went and grabbed my shoes and I checked the soles of my shoes. And they wear out on the front of my shoe first. Like I actually have very little wear on the back of my shoe. So apparently I'm a ball walker. I didn't even realize I did it. So when I was walking home today, I'm like, I'm going to walk like a regular person.
How did that feel?
Give it a go. And so I focused on pointing my feet forward because I walk like a penguin. So it's like, no, feet forward and heel first. I'm going to walk like this. After about 2 minutes, my legs hurt.
Yeah, you're going to work those calves too much, boy.
I had like these muscles working that just like...
Normally
just atrophied. My calves were hurting because like the way I walk apparently don't bend them backwards because I was like ball down first. And like this like really uncomfortable. When I try to walk like a regular person, my legs just ache.
Best calf stretch, just put the balls of the front of your feet on a stair. And then lower yourself down and then lift yourself up. Maybe
I should, because I've actually tried, every now and then I try to run to give like running a go. And it's very difficult for me because like it hurts. It hurts a lot because the action of running, I have to run like a regular person. I can't run tiptoe first. And my legs hurt real fast.
It's also interesting that you walk like that because I, in the past, would always describe you as someone who was afraid that they were going to leave the earth, so you just would stamp your feet onto the ground as because when we were renting a house once, and you could always tell where James was because a mighty crashing of feet was leading itself around the house. It's coming down the stairs. Oh, it must be James because the house is shaking right now. Because every step you were afraid you would launch off this earth, and you must return as hard and as quickly as possible.
I like to be grounded.
Stay on the ground. Nothing else matters.
Yes.
Yeah, but you do that on the balls of your feet.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Maybe if you stamp down not as hard, your back, you wouldn't hurt your calf muscles so much. Gentle movements.
I could try. I feel like I need to try those
you should
stretches
understand
now.
gravity by now. You don't need to hit the ground quite so hard.
No, well, I'm kind of short, so like.
Also, aren't you afraid that if you hit it too hard, you'll just kick off? Off we go. You can't have my things, Paul. I'd take Cheryl.
Yeah, she's never home anyway.
That's true. She wouldn't notice. It would take several months. It's like, where is Jace? Oh, I kicked off the earth.
Oh, I live here now, by the way.
Angeline's my new mum. Oh, man, she would make me so many juices. It'd be good.
Yeah, you would. Get so much juice.
I'm not supposed to have juice.
No. Can you have soybean milk? It's basically juice.
Who wants it?
It's good. No, I like...
No, I mean, I haven't given a fair shake at the waffle, as they say. No, because when I was younger, they thought I could be like lactose intolerant. So, well, can you have dairy for a while? You eat cereal. Here, have some soy milk instead. Just don't call it fucking milk.
No, it's not. Yeah,
it's nothing like milk. And so now in my head, because I was introduced it's supposed to be a milk substitute.
No, it's its own
thing. It should be like milk. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I've got like a mental block over it.
No. What you want is like fresh soybean milk. where it's like
milk straight from the soybean.
Yeah, straight from the teat.
The problem is they scream.
yeah, that's where the flavor comes from.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, video games.
Video games.
Okay, before we get into why AAA games suck,
Oh, okay.
which I'm not good. I don't think we should make a big thing because I think it's been really overdone.
It has been like, I even thought about writing an article about it because I was asked to write an article for something, but it's been spoken about so much. Like,
and there's been good articles by better people than me.
Yeah. Oh god, so much better than me.
Yeah, and in case you're wondering what we're talking about microtransaction loot boxes, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
the loot box.
Which we will touch briefly on,
Yeah.
but we won't make a big thing. Let's talk about the exciting things of the week. Untitled Goose Game.
Oh man, you get to play an asshole goose. Like that's the pitch right there. You want to play an asshole goose? Untitled Goose Game.
Being made by the developers of Push Me Pull Me
Yep.
for you, which is a fun little multiplayer game. It is. I've shown this trailer to many people, including non-gamers, and everybody loves it. It is currently called Untitled Goose Game. You play a goose and you fuck around with a farmer.
Yeah, it's like get the farmer wet, and so you have to figure out how to get the farmer wet.
I just love things like trying to like steal his keys and shit off his belt. And the thing that makes this trailer, so it's isometric. It's like, it's attractive. It's not high tech or anything, but it's just got.
It's kind of like a flat lighting. Like it's sort of almost looks like not well. I'm gonna say cel shaded, but it's not really
flat shaded.
It's flat shaded.
Yeah, it's very similar to the art style of Push Me Pull You.
Yeah.
Instead of weird twisty two-ended people, it is a goose
and a
garden.
farmer. This poor farmer that is just trying to do his.
It's just trying to do something more realistic.
Yeah.
So it moves like a goose. The reactions to the farmer are hilarious as things go around. But the thing that makes this trailer, and what I hope they are investing 80% of their money in, is a dynamic piano soundtrack. Because that piano that goes with the trailer makes it. It's like a vaudeville comic routine as this shitty asshole goose is just strutting around and just like hiding behind a thing and then honking at him and making him jump and then running back around the other side or something. Yeah. I was just in actual laughter. Yeah. I'm like, this is fucking great. And
it's amazing.
This game, I bet, is going to be a fine little puzzle adventure game.
It's made for streamers though.
It's made for streamers, but also it's not if you play it to just do the challenges, that will be shit. If you play it to act and roleplay like an asshole goose, it will be game of the fucking year next year. As long as they get that soundtrack right, because I really think that is like 50% of the experience. I was so excited by this prospect. I was like, I just hope they can come up with some good scenarios.
My favorite parts are when the goose just turns around and starts chasing the gardener.
Yeah.
There's this idea that like the gardener's chasing you down, but you can just turn around and go, wah!
Yeah, because you are a goddamn goose.
Have you been chased by a goose? That's scary.
Have you seen the mouth of a goose?
They were like,
those things are monstrous.
I don't want to get attacked by a goose.
No, those things have and will fuck you up.
They're basically cassowaries.
Yeah, cassowaries are pretty crazy too. Mm-hmm. So asshole goose.
Yeah.
Maybe, what would be a good name? I think
goosing around.
Maybe that's not bad. It's not bad. I was actually just thinking Mr. Goose would be strong.
Mr. Goose.
I mean, that does gender it, but I just feel like it gives him an authority.
Asshole goose works as well.
Or maybe it's just a.goose.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's a goose, but A is standing for asshole goose. Yeah.
You can have those, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, ideas, as we've said many times, are worthless. Man, that should be our catchphrase.
Ideas are worthless. It has been a while since I've been in a party and someone's found out that I make video games and tried to pitch their idea. It hasn't happened in a while. Yeah.
Well, that's because they're keeping them safe.
Yeah, you got to hold on. Yeah. What I love is when people ask you to sign NDAs. They're my favorite.
Yeah,
like, I've got this good idea, but no, you got to sign an NDA first.
I get a few people in my life that every once in a while there's paperwork involved, and I'm like, nah.
Like, why would I sign this?
Have you seen all the people in this room? All these people are as useless as you. What's gonna happen? I just go, look, if you're really worried, do the old makeshift time capsule copyright and mail yourself a copy of your thing.
You feel that precious about it.
Yeah, you can spend that. What is mail these days? Regular mail. It used to be 45 cents. I think it went up to 50. It's probably $1.20 now.
I'm sure there was some angry pensioners.
Spend that $1.20 and just file away and never open it because no one's ever going to care. I thought about a movie where robots take over the world. Wow.
Well, that sentient Roomba idea, I saw a student project which was exactly that.
Yeah.
This new one looks like it's done a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Which
sure
is
there's
why
been lots of things
ideas
going
are
on.
worthless. Execution.
We really need like the little rainbow across the bottom.
Yeah. Ideas are worthless.
So here's the thing. I'm going to try and make an ideas are worthless like t-shirt design.
Oh.
And and here's the thing, everyone. Feel free to fucking make your own because ideas are worthless. It'll be on our store that doesn't exist.
I do want that shirt now.
If you subscribe to our Patreon,
I just want it to be like
exist.
it's just like a broken light bulb.
I actually really I wish I could remake my business cards now with just ideas are worthless and not bad. yeah, ideas are worthless, and then on the other side, a free podcast.
Especially handing out to devs and things. It's to any kind of aspiring kind of game developers we meet there. Like, no. I'm going to crush your dreams right now.
Here we go. Okay. Let's continue with the stuff that can be loosely called news. Okay, This one is big news, and it's very, very sad news. Visceral has closed its doors thanks to EA shutting them down.
Actually, I'm going to look up quickly who EA has killed.
As in the people involved?
Or how many people? How many executions?
How many people were actually at
How
Visceral?
many shallow graves there are?
The very sad thing about so Visceral, their recent project has been unannounced Star Wars game, which as we knew they were making it, but it was unannounced other than that. And the statement they were making was that the game has turning into a linear single-player adventure game, and focus testing has proved that that's not what the market's after. So the project's been taken off them, been given to another company, and Visceral has been told to fuck off. Probably not in those words, but that's how it feels right now, because Visceral are really, really strong developers. Dead Space was an amazing series.
So you won the list?
Of how many?
Some I hadn't heard of.
How many things EA has
so
killed.
there's New FX, Playfish. I haven't really heard of them. Pandemic, local one. That was shut down. Black Box Games from Skate.
Oh, yeah.
That was shut down. Who else?
Origin, Bullfrog,
Westwood. Origin, Mythic, Maxis.
Oh yeah, Maxis was a big one.
Yeah, shut down by then. Ago. Yeah, they've got a good track record of just buying studios, very unique studios, and just shutting them down.
In the defense, even without EA, a lot of studios do fail and fall apart.
Yeah. It's just they seem to be almost like vultures, like swooping in, claiming the IP.
It really,
and then just gutting it. It's like,
it never feels good. It feels like EA is big enough to absorb something. And I mean, the very idea that making a linear single player Star Wars game was not what the market wants at the moment, real fucking depressing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we are getting a linear story at least in Battlefront 2.
I haven't really seen any details on it yet, though. I still am not convinced that it as much as I liked the war stories that were in Battlefront.
They're good.
Battlefield. Yeah. As much as I thought that was a really good step forward, it's still not like equal to a strong narrative single player game. It was like just way better than what we normally get in Battlefield.
Yeah. I think in this one, at least what they're starting from is good. Like, I think the premise of sending it at least starting off from the Imperial side.
And we've got that chick that's the actress that's playing the main character.
I don't know the name of the actress.
Yeah. I know she was doing a lot of press for it. I'm bad with names.
But you know, like having like this interesting premise of, because I always love looking at stuff from the Imperial side. We don't see much of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure by the end of it, it's going to be joining the rebels and all that kind of jazz.
What if it's not?
Yeah. Oh, well, I hope not.
What if you become like you do leave the Empire, but to join a more hardcore, like right-wing authoritarian fascist state?
What I'd like them to focus on is like the Empire is a society. Like, it's like this is a functional society. The Imperials have a functional society. Explore that. Like, there's going to be people in there that are just regular folks. They just happen to also have slavery and kind of bad things.
I hope they explain what a youngling is.
It's the word they can use, so you don't use rating when you kill them.
Did you see the theory that Snook, or whatever his goddamn name is just one of those younglings? I was like, God, yes.
Yeah.
That would be so good. But I think we just want to ignore all of those things. The only reason we want the prequels is for prequel memes, and those are amazing.
Yes, yeah.
It keeps me happy. So Visceral is gone, and
sad
that
times.
makes me sad.
Yeah, because they've done some real good stuff.
Yeah. Switch has got a new firmware update.
Yeah, 4.0.
It's out now.
We've got video and everything.
Yep. You can record 30-second video clips in a total of 4 games.
Yeah, so it's not like at the system level quite yet where everything supports it.
I wouldn't be surprised if things from now on start.
I would think so going forward.
But it's per game at the moment. So it's just Breath of the Wild, ARMS, Splatoon 2, and Mario Kart.
Yeah, well, and I'm guessing that existing stuff may get patched in or something like that.
So I assume it's a trigger that they got to put on because I'm going to assume it's got to take some resources, and Switch doesn't necessarily have a bunch of spare resources.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. So you hold down the button, and so instead of tapping it for a screenshot, you hold it down, and it saves the last 30 seconds of gameplay.
Which means that it's actually
recording
it and and storing it off.
So I downloaded it, but I haven't tested it.
Yeah, I haven't checked it out. They've also added the option so you can transfer your Switch to a new Switch.
Yep, and transfer save data.
Yeah, I didn't see if they had it from between SD cards or not.
Yeah, I haven't.
I was not sure on that yet.
But at least that you can do it is a big step for Nintendo.
Yeah, well, at least I know once I go buy a new Switch, because my Switch has a speck of dust under the screen now, so it's basically dead to me. I can transfer it to that.
Yeah, you can. How much you want to sell that Switch for?
I don't care about the speck of dust.
Yeah, you do.
No,
I'm going to point it out to you every single time.
I tell myself I don't care about the speck of dust, but a little part of me cares about the speck.
I mean, you're a successful man.
Let's go buy another one.
What are they, like $12,000?
I don't know. What's the money? Like I don't know.
How much is a banana? $10?
But I did learn about the Switch that they haven't glued the LCD screen to the glass. They are separate pieces, which means things like dust can get under it.
Yeah, but they're more repairable.
They are more repairable, so that's the kind of silver lining.
Good thing, bad thing. Yeah. There's always a choice. One trade-off is another one's vice. No, that's I tried to make vice.
Yeah, vice.
It doesn't really work. It doesn't rhyme, but I couldn't think of a rhyme that meant something.
Yeah.
But as we know, ideas
are
worthless.
Ideas are worthless.
Okay, here's a fun thing. We've got 2 stories about Sony, and both is as fun as the other one.
Ooh,
actually,
I enjoy
no. I'm going to stick by that. They're both fun ones.
Okay.
First up, Sony has a new publishing lady.
Label.
Oh, they got a publishing lady. Her name is Margaret.
Yeah.
She's been very receptive. She said, if we want to get 8.5-bit on the Switch, they will help, which is really weird.
It's really weird because it's Sony. Why would they be publishing stuff
that's literally what this story is about.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Because Untitled, which is their new label, is their new publishing arm, which is putting games out on PC and Switch. And potentially other platforms as well. But those are what they've said they're doing. Which is okay.
If Sony wants to not invest in portable hardware, but they still want some piece of that pie... it kind of makes sense that maybe they do want to get some of their stuff onto a portable system. I don't know, but they don't want to make a Beta 2. Someone else has made a Beta 2.
And they probably don't want it to... or probably they don't want, but also they might have... Their partners might have issue with games starting up Sony on a Nintendo... PC wouldn't give a shit. But Nintendo might not want a great big Sony splash screen. And... I think they're still allowed if it was a published game and everything, but they're just sort of separating themselves from these projects. I don't think they've announced any projects for it yet.
Okay, it's interesting.
At least because I only had a quick glance of the details of it. But I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like that we sidled into it, admittedly on accident, but you were still sideswiped because you didn't know what it was. So thanks, Margaret.
Yeah, thanks.
Untitled.
Good job. Margie, I like to call her.
The other Sony news is that Sony is allegedly making a Settlers of Catan movie.
Oh, yeah, don't they? Isn't this one of the things where they've got the rights, but it's going to expire soon? So it's a little bit Spider-Man, where it's oh shit, we've got to make the Settlers of Catan movie. I don't know what that is. I almost think a Settlers of Catan TV show would make sense. That's just about people settling in Catan. I can kind of see there something. I don't understand what the Settlers of Catan movie is.
No, but hey, didn't last we hear Tetris had been turned into a trilogy in its planned development phase?
Oh, geez.
Admittedly,
Battle...
It might have been... No, it wasn't Nolan. It might have been Fincher was attached at one point to the goddamn Tetris movie.
Because, I think with
Tetris...
With Battleship...
Cinematic Universe.
In the Tetris Cinematic Universe. Battleship, actually, I thought, was a decent adaptation of what is just a dumb board game.
I didn't watch it, but that was because I was told they don't say you sound like
no,
Battleship.
they don't. But they
What's
do.
What's the fucking point? Then?
But they do have a part.
The whole reason that exists.
There are pegs that come down in that movie that hit the ships. They do have a part where they're hitting zones
without the line. It's fucking worthless.
So I actually
It's
believe,
worse than my ideas. It's that worthless.
I believe it can be done. Tetris though. I can't imagine it.
Yeah, you say that now. Oscar 12 Oscars movie of the year. You're gonna love it.
Oh God, it's a Hasbro cinematic universe. I love it.
I watched a fun movie yesterday. I think it's called The Babysitter. It's a Netflix movie. Well, on Netflix. I don't think they've produced it. I think they did, but I didn't check. McG directed it, which is like, hey, he's making crappy movies again. It's just a good...
That's X-Files guy, right?
Was he involved in X-Files?
I thought McG was. I think he was involved in X-Files.
He did like the Charlie's Angels movies and a bunch of other trash. Mostly watchable trash.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just a horror comedy, which is... it did a few things of like subverting and then re-subverting my expectations in ways that...
Did it subvert them back to where... Like, did it subvert and then subvert back where it started?
I feel like I want to spoil my favorite thing.
Look, I'm probably not going to watch it.
Okay.
But people listening / watching.
So I'll do this quickly. 30-second time jump if you don't want to hear this thing
these spoilers.
This thing about props in the movie.
Okay, yeah.
So one of the things the movie... actually, no, sorry. If you're still listening, give me 1 minute.
Oh, now I'm interested.
Okay, so in the movie, they keep establishing things that don't need to be established.
Yeah.
So like it's like, oh, like we've established earlier in the film that there's some spray here or something. It's like that would just be in a house anyway. You didn't really need to have a scene that explained that earlier in the movie. Then later in the movie, they go back and like, oh, the knife in the kitchen, it was put in the dishwasher here. It's like, why would you need to establish a knife being in a kitchen? Then he goes to grab it. It's not there. And then there's a flashback to them moving it up somewhere else. And I was like, oh my God. Like,
okay, that sounds pretty
yeah,
great.
it was enough of like you were aware enough of this over explanation of all these props and everything that you then made a joke about your own thing. And it's kind of like when we watch Jason X. Yeah. And it's just like, you know, whether or not you enjoy this sort of campy things, like it's totally personal choice of that. But like when you can just read the movie and like it feels like there's a real sense of humor and fun and an understanding of what they're doing. You might hate what they're doing, but they know what they're doing, and that's fun. Yeah, I enjoy.
Okay,
I recommend
I'm
it.
now more interested in it.
Yeah, it's fun horror comedy. Total B.
It's a total Hatton time.
Yeah, every time they say B in the B movie, you watch The Babysitter. See, another worthless idea. Okay, so should we... I actually don't even know what we want to say about loot boxes. Loot boxes are the topic of the current thing. Yeah. Mainly picked up because of I think the new Forza has a big loot box push to it. They're not actually payable yet. They will be, but just not at launch. And people think that's just a gambit to get around bad reviews. And then Shadow of War, most of the discussion about that game has been around its implementation of loot boxes, especially in the end game. And from most reports, it really isn't very pervasive at all. But 90% of the conversation about that game isn't about the game. It's about the monetization. And there was one other big one at the moment. What is coming out? There was some talk about Assassin's Creed, but there's no monetization.
There was a thing recently with Activision filing a patent.
That was a big thing. Yeah, where they were talking about matchmaking with a specific purpose of trying to encourage the players to
see gear,
to see gear and want to acquire it. Which they said they have not implemented into any games as of yet.
Yeah, which I noticed every article posted a picture of Destiny along with this article, which was their clickbait image.
Yeah. I mean, it's currently a game, Activision game, the same thing.
Yeah.
I know we have slightly different feelings on loot boxes and monetization.
I don't think they're that far apart, though. I think it's I think it comes down to you're not a big fan of the mechanic of like randomness.
Yeah. I don't like the mechanic in the first place.
Yeah.
I think the way that it's implemented is very much just based on concepts of gambling. Yeah. And so as soon as money is involved...
Well, that's where it starts getting...
And at any level, I see that as preying on the vulnerable. And yes, it's totally personal choice. And I've never... have I bought a loot box? I think I once bought... I bought the pass to do that Man vs. Machine thing in TF2. I think I only bought like 1 or 2 tickets there. And I think I used credit for it. And I once bought like $5 of credit in The Sims on Facebook. And the day afterwards, I'm like, why did I do that?
Why did you do it? Yeah.
I think those are the only microtransactions I've ever taken part of.
I mean, I've spent plenty of money on microtransactions. When it comes to loot boxes, I've bought a few, but never gone crazy.
I realized I lied.
What?
Dandy Dungeon.
Yeah, I was actually wondering about Dandy Dungeon.
Which means it's time to sing our song.
Danger, 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 danger zone.
I'll just point out that game did very, very badly. But we liked it. Well, I liked it, and you liked the song.
So, because I think there's been this conversation about loot boxes, and the game designer in me is like, well, the idea of buying a thing for a random thing, not even for in-game currency, it's just a core mechanic. You can look at Diablo and killing a boss. Anything which has got killing a big mob to get a random drop effectively is a loot boss. You're doing a thing in a game to get a random thing. It's just whether or not you pay money for it. And
just to touch on that, where I'm saying ethical issues and everything, I admittedly would say I actually still have a slight ethical issue even at that level. Because and this is where I'm not this is bad, but I'm it's still questionable because it's you are still using properties of an addictive thing to get people. And I'm sure we've all known people that have got suckered into games to painful degrees.
I would argue that that's game development.
That's still game development, and that then is really personal responsibility. And how much do we take that? I mean, so whilst I might think it's still not 100% fine ethically, I'm also I'm not rallying against it on an ethical level.
Because I mean, you can. There are unethical game practices used all kinds of ways.
There's some stuff that's straight up wrong.
And the very nature of game development is that you need to be psychologically manipulative. You're doing that to generally entertain, surprise, and control the experience.
Otherwise, you'd just be playing beige line the game.
Yeah, that's kind of part of what the game is. It's manipulation. It's lying. It's smoke and mirrors. That's just what it is.
And my thing would then be, I am more, I don't know, I find gambling an offense to some degree, probably just because of lives I've seen and everything. So I'm probably more susceptible to judging that. But that, again, I'm not rallying against it as a general thing.
See, as a mechanic, I think it's I have no problem with it. And I've even seen loot boxes in certain games which I think are done fine. I've put probably close to 100 hours into Destiny 2 now. I've never spent any money in any loot boxes. I kind of look at that loot box system.
But you need them more engrams.
In that game they make a very.
That's what you get with the loot boxes.
Well, actually, it's a bright engram is what you get. Yeah,
see, I know
nice.
Destiny talk.
But Destiny makes a very strong point of not including anything that affects the game.
Yeah.
About as close as it gets is you get a slightly faster vehicle, maybe. Or a ghost which gives you a really minor passive. That's as game affecting as it gets. There was a big fuss made about the shader system. But to be honest, I have a squill in shaders in that game. It hasn't been a problem.
Yeah, but if you want the real special
if I want Watermelon, which is a really good shader, I may have to spend some money. But I still have 4 Watermelons, so I don't really care.
I think I said that the black shader was only if you pre-ordered Call of Duty. So, does that mean if you want the full set, you could pre-order it 6 times?
Yes. So I think I look at Destiny and I think that's a loot box system which I don't find intrusive in any way. I don't feel pressured. I don't think it gives an advantage. It's just there. It's just if you really want it, you can get it. I don't give a shit.
And I keep interrupting you. Sorry, I'm really mansplaining things today. But at the same point, there will be people that pour hundreds of thousands of dollars into that because that's why it exists.
Oh, yeah, there'll still be the whales.
Yeah.
That will still happen.
And other than just the rich princes that don't give a shit and just I'm going to have everything that I can possibly get. It's the fact that there's still enough people to make that worthwhile, that small group, it's is it just their responsibility or is there...
well, that's just where I think as a game designer, then I think that's where you can decide how, where's your line in kind of being manipulative to get money out of people. And even with Astro, there were things that I did in that where I'm doing this to make money and I'm being manipulative about it. And it's just, where do I draw that line? And I could have been real evil, or I could say I'm being nicer and showing a nice.
You could have put a lot of salt on the chips and then raise that drink price right up.
because we were talking about it the other day, and like I got to thinking about Destiny and how it worked, and then I was also thinking Overwatch, because that's another one. That's where I've also spent a little bit of money. I think I bought 1 or 2 in there, and I realized I have more of an ethical issue with Overwatch than I do Destiny. Because Destiny, I really feel like that loot system is just there to supplement the game. Like I feel like the core experience you do not have to pay money for. You just buy the game and you get it. But with Overwatch, when I look at what people get excited about, when I look what shows up in the news, it's skins. That's what the game is for a lot of people.
When it comes to ethics for that,
yeah,
that's still kind of all right, except then you've got time-limited skins.
You got time-limited skins.
And there is literally a cap on how much you could potentially earn in that time to get those skins. And that's what that player base cares about, which means once you are hitting that theoretical cap of what you could be really earning in that time frame as a human being, I can give it this much time, your only other option is to spend money, if that's what you care about.
Yes, yeah. And I'm not a big Overwatch player, so I might be off base about it, but my impression is that a big part of what people enjoy about that game is collecting the skins. To me, that's what I see. I
mean, like, it's certainly a news reporting thing and something that people really enjoy getting. I wouldn't say, like, the skins is, like, the meta or anything, but, yes, people like the skins.
There's no other meta in the game apart from that, right? Like, it's all about getting...
I think the meta for that is actually story stuff.
How's it unlocked, though?
It's not in the game at all. That's just outside of the game.
Sorry, like what people enjoy. They enjoy watching reading
they enjoy
the comics
the universe and then the fan base build out of that, and then Blizzard feeds that back.
I'm just thinking back from when I was playing it, what I was like the loop, the core gameplay loop was play a bunch of matches, get a bunch of coins, get a loot box from leveling up, get some kind of new skin that I kind of think would look kind of cool. Okay, play that character, jump back in. Like that to me seemed to be the loop. I was doing
several characters I started playing only because I got skins for that character.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm going to be the pirate.
Yeah, which is why I'd make an argument that I think that is the meta in that game. It's getting the skins.
Yeah.
So in Overwatch, I look at it, that is like they've directly monetized the meta. You can inject money to pay to win. If your definition of winning is getting the skin you want, you can pay to win. And I have more of a problem with that, because that's where money is directly coming into that loop, which people are kind of doing. So I think it's a big gray area. Like
I would like the ESA and groups like that to actually step up and make a few regulations. And like they can be voluntary, because that's what a lot of those groups are anyway. But I mean, the video game industry has been relatively good at self-regulating.
Say where it's not. The slot games on mobile phones.
Yeah.
Like that. Like if you want to look at one that's bad, that's the bad one, because that's a simulated slot experience where, because there's no cash out, you can put money in to buy virtual money, but there's no cash out, and because there's no cash out, it's not regulated.
I do find it interesting the amount of times when you talk about this, it's like, is it gambling? Is it not? People just go, well, it's not technically. They're basically Trump argument is that it's not legally gambling because you can't take money out or something like that. It's like, I'm not talking about it legally being gambling. I'm talking about, is it gambling and the ethics involved in that. And so, few things that I would like to see, and Valve has recently implemented part of this. When you go to buy microtransaction, at least in Valve games now, tells you how much you've spent.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good.
So it's like, I think that's good. Like if you go, I'm just going to get another Overwatch bot, and it says, you spent $200 this month. Because that's enough to stop people.
I hear about like there'll be some like summer games event or something like that. Like I spent like $150 on loot boxes. I'm like, that's more than the base game.
That's
like
several times the cost of the base game.
That's a lot of money. And it's more than say like a WoW monthly subscription where you're paying $15 a month. Like like this is like we're kind of in a different ballgame now. And
it still gives people that if you want to spend $10,000 a month, if that is in your realm of ability, then that's fine.
Yeah.
I think just for paid loot box style situations, they should also have to publish the drop rates.
Yes, yeah, I think that would,
because when you see, it's actually a 1 in 10 chance. Like, okay, well that seems fine.
Yeah,
1 in 20,000. Maybe I'm not going to drop the $2 on that. It seems a little
the thing that gets a
unlikely.
bit tricky is that it can be difficult to quantify what that is going to be.
And that is one of the things
Yeah.
like that the system that Activision did, because there's been talk about like, well, are drop rates the same for different players? It's like when you've got psychologists working on stuff and all this data about us, it's like they might like looking at a player like me, can they tune the game enough to a point that, well, you know what, Paul's actually, he's not going to put up with much grind, but you know what, if we give him something good like every 3 boxes, he might actually start going like, hey, this isn't too bad, and then he'll start grinding more and he'll put some money in.
Yeah, and then they're going to get that feedback loop.
Yeah, and then there's other people that literally might do hundreds of boxes, and that's fine.
Oh, yeah, look, I would not be surprised if that, and that's where the publishing the drop rate gets real difficult. Like even in Astro, one of the effectively it's got loot boxes because you can spend coins to get a random ship, and even in that. I stacked it, but I stacked it in the favor of the player, where I said, all right, well, every 5th attempt, if you haven't won anything new, give them something new. Yeah. That was because I wanted to make it less jerky.
Yeah.
So, like, how do I roll that into the likelihood of winning? So that's sort of what
every 5th time it says 100%.
Yeah, but I think that's where like it's a very simplistic look at what the loot boxes are. Where in reality, there's some really complicated algorithms going on behind the scenes to figure out. Now, I chose to do it for good. Because I thought I don't want to be too nasty, but it very easily go the other way. Yeah, and that's where like I mean even like A/B testing is a term in game development where like take group A, take group B, give them different values for their whatever game config and see the difference in behaviors. Like that's just a thing that happens in game dev.
But then the thing is when you're charging money for an experience, then if you are testing different groups like that, is then that an unethical practice?
Or when it gets to this gets as bad as people finding whales on Facebook and actually targeting stuff directly to them based off their Facebook information. Like
I would not be. Yeah, there was because our friend Morgan who runs Defiant. He wrote a good article last week about loot boxes, and in the comments, someone was complaining. It was discussing. Talking to a large mobile game company, and they were saying that it was either 80 or 98%, I can't remember, some of that, of the revenue for this very large mobile game came from 300 people. Yeah. And the average of those people spending was somewhere between 30 and 50k a year. Like that's insane. Yeah. It's like 300 people is not for a game that I would imagine has millions of users.
If there are rich prints, then sure.
Yeah, who cares? And I'm sure some of them are rich princes.
Probably would be, but when it's some because people have different personalities, like people have different levels
of different personalities.
Sorry, people have different levels of addiction to things. Like some people are more susceptible to addiction than others. I think I kind of lucked out where I don't get too mentally kind of like I enjoy the loop, but I don't feel like I get suckered in. Like if I start losing too much, I'm like, fuck it, I'm out. Like I've never had
the only thing I'm addicted to is your Santi Musk.
It's not bad, but I know this is like a spectrum, right? Like some people are really susceptible to it, and that's the thing with the system. It's like you're getting those people on the end of the spectrum, on the end of the bell curve, and you can get some mum that finds some mobile game that she starts getting real into, and next thing you know, she's dropping $5,000 a week or something into it just because she's got that particular personality type that does that.
Yeah. I'm always shocked at when like gambling habits and stuff come up, just how much a regular person can put into something. I'm like, but all my money would be gone immediately. And that's what happens. And they get into incredible debt and it's just unbelievable. But so my overall takeaway from this and why I wrote AAA sucks on this piece of paper, which is a lie, but also sometimes I feel like, because as this permeates itself more and more in the AAA industry, and I feel like the games really... I'm less and less important because what they really want is those 300 whales. That AAA just becomes more and more not for me. And it's their actual goals have got nothing to do with who I am as a person because I'm not that kind of consumer. And like was talking about the Visceral game being Star Wars game being cancelled, which was something I was extremely interested in. And like they're going like it's a core mechanic in Assassin's Creed, even though it's not paid, it's still a loot box thing there. It's like that's where we got to go. And like, okay, so everything that's big is now moving this direction because that keeps the player retention, and that's what they want. That's what they need because games are so big now,
and they're
because we
so
can't
expensive to
and
make.
we can't raise the price because people don't like us raising the price,
Yeah.
despite the fact games are now cheaper than they were in the 90s. But if we raise the price, people would throw a riot. So instead, we've got to start doing this, and because this works, and I think it's more successful than raising the price. Even if they raise the price now, this shit wouldn't go away, which makes me go, $20 for Hat in Time? Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I as long as it's not interfering too much with my core experience, I don't really mind. Like, I think with...
See, I think the thing is, now I'm looking for the scam.
Yeah. I think, like, the one that really sticks out for me is the kind of Shadow of War.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one where, like, okay, this is a single-player game. Like, this... I get it for when you want it to support server costs and things like that, which is why I look at Destiny, like, the game's basically an MMO. There's like this avenue here for this will generate some revenue which goes towards server costs and things. I don't care, like, sure, but when you have this like offline experience and it starts getting into it, or even like using it as a mechanic, like I don't like the idea of it being an Assassin's Creed when it's like, here is a loot box, you get a random thing. Don't mind it as much when it's like, you killed a boss, you get a random thing. Like, even though effectively they're the same thing, it's almost like, oh, loot boxes have become so like, it's become a system that people understand. It's like it's a learnt thing. People know what a loot box is. So this is going to be, we're not going to even bother dressing it up as a mechanic anymore. Yeah. We're going to go, oh, buy a loot box.
It's cards.
Yeah. It's like, we're not going to pretend, like, you know, there was this effort to move away from tokens and kind of like fake things of like, you know, we've got board games and we've got cards and tokens and dice, and we need these because we have to hold things and roll things. Yeah. But hey, video game, we don't have to do that. We can, like, you know, dress it up and do all these things to hide all that. And it's like, no, we're kind of, let's go like loot boxes.
It's when I said now I'm looking for the scam, it reminds me of when you play a free-to-play game, and we're talking free-to-play mechanics, not actual free games. You know, you've got that curve of at what point does this game stop being worth playing?
What's the paywall?
Yeah, it's like, when do we hit the paywall? Yeah. When do we just hit the where time investment? Like, even if you put in a little bit of money, how much money is it worth putting in until it's no longer worth putting in any money? And now, if I'm playing a big AAA game, I'm on that curve now, I feel. Even if it's not actually going to hit me, I'm psychologically on that curve.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. Like, it's kind of muddying the water and things, because if I get a free game, like I remember I played a fair bit of Dominations, like the kind of the Clash of Clans style kind of game, and I also played a bit of I think it's Star Wars Battle something, whatever, it's their Clash of Clans. And when playing them, because it's a free to play game, I'm fully prepared, like, where is the paywall? And there was a definite point in, especially in the Star Wars one, where it's like, here it is, here's the bit.
Here's where it says wait 1 week.
And some of them can be a bit more insidious about it, where it's like they have this slow creep of paywall.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh, paywall, it's like $1. Like, sure. You know, I've put like 15, 16 hours into this game. You can have $1. Sure,
yeah,
I don't mind.
At this point, I would like to support you.
Yeah. But then, like, you get this creep of like paywall, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh shit, this is. Well, actually, sorry. What I would like to see is more people talking about what they spend. That's why I really love that Valve thing, because I think especially in mobile games, a lot of people spend a lot of money.
Yes.
They just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And I'm always kind of surprised. Like Cheryl's mum, she plays a lot of Domination still. I bet she's putting in $80-$90 a month into that game. She's never said it, but I would not be surprised in the slightest if she's doing something like that.
I would just like to know, like, the average user of like that Kim Kardashian game.
Yeah.
Well, like the average amount of money goes into an active user.
Yeah.
Like, how much is people?
Yeah. Well, sort of you kind of want to know what's the average spend for a person who's played it for 20 hours.
Yes.
And if you can look at that and go, oh, this 20 hours, this person's spending, you know, $5 a month, $10 a month, like, sure. Like, if it's something you play every now and then, whatever. But I think it can often go way higher than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think to kind of like wrap up my thoughts on it. I think there's been a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to the concept of loot box. I think in itself, it can be done fine. And I don't want to say that all loot boxes are bad, because I think it can be done fine.
I also would say the knee-jerk reaction is from the always overly vocal niche gamers online, which are exactly who we are and who we hang around with and who we talk to and who this show is for on the whole.
It's also not the bulk of the audience.
Which is, we are nothing.
I think, It's,
if we were something, Dark Train would have sold 1 million copies.
No, that is very true. There's that core gamer group is actually such the minority of what gamers are. You just have to look at like the average attach rate for consoles. And it's like, oh, what's the average attach rate? Oh, Destiny or COD. Like, the vast majority of people buy one game. And they play that, and if you think of it like that, then having a way to get revenue from these people that only buy one game kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
like it's like, okay, well, it basically at that point it's a service, and we could have it so you could have the game every year COD style, or we could have it where we have year DLC. That's another thing which has been popping up, like the yearly seasons, or you could have it supported by loot boxes. Like it's just. Don't throw the idea out. Like I think it's just a thing to use.
I mean, I'm happy to throw it out, but
I wouldn't throw it out. It's a tool. But
I wouldn't demand to be thrown out. I just wouldn't care if it was thrown out.
As a game developer, it's just like it's a tool that can be used to serve a purpose. But you got to be careful with how you use it. But you could say that across like for all mechanics.
You could say that about almost anything.
It's
like this hammer is very useful. Just be careful how you use it.
Yeah. So.
I were a carpenter and you were a lady.
You'd hammer in the morning?
Would you marry me anyway and let me lathe your baby? That's an old
That's how the song goes.
That's an old song. Yeah. Doug Anthony All-Stars. Always keeping it classy. Okay, we should probably move on.
Yeah.
I had like a point I was going to and someone that's not again was talking to me about this and then I can't remember it at all.
And we could be boring a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I find it fascinating.
I like that. I think it was actually a fine conversation. It went way longer than with our thing. Just like, we'll just touch on it briefly because it's big.
20 minutes later.
There's a lot of, I think it was more like half an hour. Actually. Sorry, everybody. Let's talk about dicks or something. Hey, did you hear that the Han Solo movie has a name now?
Yeah, it's Solo.
It totally fits the creativity of the crew involved in it.
Yeah, I like even the logo, the Solo logo looks like a Solo can. Like it's like black with yellow and like it's just cool. Like I've got a mighty thirst, Paul.
It was my co-worker at work is very big into Star Wars. He was very excited about Solo, and I'm just like, it's like, oh, Ron Howard's directing. I'm like, you think that's a good thing? It's like, yeah, isn't he good? I'm like, it's not bad.
You can make a better movie than me.
He's a totally competent person who I don't remember trying anything of interest ever. It's like he will certainly make exactly the movie the producers want him to make, which is a very, very controlled experience at this point. So it will be fine. And I think just the creativity of the name Solo just goes to reflect the creative minds behind these projects.
What I'm hoping happens with the Star Wars universe is what's happened with Marvel, where once they've made a few movies, they start getting a bit more confident to have our Thors,
let people get in
have our like the New Mutants, like let us kind of branch off and do some more interesting things. But I think it'll take a while to get there.
You say that thinking that the New Mutants will be good.
I think it might be. It'll be different. Like it does not look
true. Different as and I'm not even saying anything about. I think it actually looks really good.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know yet. It's an unknown quantity.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't look like X-Men the new lot.
I never judge anything before it comes out. That's not my style.
Old grounded Paul, giving everything a chance. That's what they call you.
Never any harsh judgments
chance
from
giver
me.
Paul.
Yeah.
Benefit of the doubt. That's what you do.
Yeah. I should get little cards that just say chance on them. It's like walk up to something and go like, it doesn't look great, but tell you what, I'll give you a chance.
Give you a chance. Thinking of Monopoly set, so we can hand out chance cards.
You're like,
I'll give you a chance.
Who's this fuckwit giving us this chance on a piece of paper? And then I turn around and on the back of my shirt reads, "Ideas are worthless." I've heard of him. He's a great PAX douchebag. He will be drunk tonight. He will tell everyone about how the industry should be run, despite having no skills himself.
But he'll say it very loudly.
Oh yes, and with great confidence.
And talk over everyone else.
I had to. I was helping a music night at my wife's school the other night, and And the guy running the audio wasn't very confident, and I came along and I was just sort of helping out. And I said, "Oh, we should shift some of the mics up there and do." And I walked up and I was just shifting mics on stage, and I was like, "Oh, wow, you really know what you're doing." I'm like, "No, I just walk confidently."
That's it. Oh, man. So much of what I do is that.
Yeah.
That's something my mum said to me early on was just like, fake it till you make it. And like, it sounds really cliched, but so much of getting through life is just looking like you know what you're doing.
I mean, like, I don't know nothing, but I know less than I appear quite often.
Paul, we're on 2 panels talking to a lot of people.
It's true.
On a podcast talking to a number of people. Do they know that we have they have no idea what we're talking about?
That we're just...
No, I have nothing. I'm winging it, Paul. I'm winging it, buddy. I don't know what I'm doing.
I can't even remember 3 things at the beginning of the episode. I always have to look down for at least one of them. I mean, this mind is shot. You know how I said I had a parasite in myself last week?
Oh, yeah.
I think it was like Futurama, and they had all my skills and abilities.
Oh, it's gone?
And now I'm just withering away.
Yeah, you've lost the sense of completion and wonderment.
Yeah. I'm no longer eloquent.
No?
I just have to
You're
spit
Ellie
chips
can't.
I'm Ellie Fant. I'm so fat. Oh no, I'm regressing. I'm regressing to my primordial self. Oh god, it's just self-loathing. There's nothing but self-loathing here.
Oh, I get 2 mics now.
No. I need that for people to hear my opinions. Good podcast material. Good podcast material. Shall we talk about some other video games?
Yeah,
while we still have a chance?
All right, let's go.
Okay. Stardew Valley came out on the Switch, and it was $15 in Australia.
Yeah.
I was like, oh fuck, that's cheap.
How much is it in the US?
Probably
$10?
$12. 10 or 12, I'd imagine.
It was surprisingly cheap. Like, I looked at it and like, well, I'm an idiot if I don't buy this.
Considering some of the other stuff, like there's that like 3D platformer adventure game like Unbox, which has been on Steam for a while and has got like, I haven't played it because it was sort of like, and it's like $50. I'm like, are you guys insane? You've got
you've seen like where Stardew Valley's sitting on them Switch rankings, right?
Well, I assume it's number 1.
Yeah.
Is Golf Story number 2?
I
or
think
at
so.
least right
I
up
think
there.
it's right up there.
Because it's also only like $15. It's like, yep, you guys understand the get everyone to buy this thing, because Switch releases now are actually coming really fast. They're releasing as fast, if not faster, than the digital releases on the other consoles. So you've got a week of being on that front page until you are gone, and if you're not in the sales by then, I don't think anyone's seeing you. So don't price yourself out of the market. That's what I say. So Stardew Valley, I never played it, even though I got through a Humble Bundle on the PC. Yeah. I was always, by that point, I knew what was coming to Switch. I was like, oh wait.
Yeah.
I am at the point of the game where I am forcing myself to play.
Oh, really?
Because I'm not yet invested enough in any of the systems to have it hook me. But I know if I push it long enough, they will.
Oh man, I know. Like that. Like I haven't played that much of it myself, mainly because I've got other things that I've been playing with, and I've seen enough of it through Cheryl playing it to have a fair idea of what it is.
You know what the big problem is?
What?
There's no run button like Golf Story, but it looks kind of like Golf Story, so I keep pushing the run button, and it does something else in this game.
Also, there's no touchscreen controls.
I never even thought.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I did, because there's a little cursor that can move around.
Yeah. And because it doesn't. I think for the main game it doesn't matter very much, but at the beginning when you're doing like a character creation and
that was a bit. I'm like tapping. I'm like, why can't I?
Yeah. Oh, I had a good story for the first time I played. I loaded up the game. I'm like, okay, I'll make my standard woman called Talitha, which is, I don't know why I do that. It's just my standard.
Talitha Blood Tornado.
No, Blood Tornado. Oh, sometimes it's her last name, but sometimes the name is just Blood Tornado. Blood Tornadoes only if I can give someone like a sword and like a spinning move. Then they're the Blood Tornado. But anyway, I went through it like, that's all fine. Start game. And as I hit start, I noticed I'd missed a thing that said, do you prefer cats or dogs? And by default, it was on cats.
No, I have to start again.
My thing was like, so I turned the game off and I threw the Switch in the fire and I left. It's fuck that. But I did turn the game off and restart the game because I'm not having a cat. What the fuck is this? I'm a dog person.
Do you know you can name all the animals in there?
Can you?
You can get chickens and you can name the chickens. So when Cheryl got to chicken ownership, We were picking names, and she wanted to be called like Omelette and Quiche. Everything was food related. All the creature names.
No.
Paul, the game will get into your skull.
It might. It hasn't got there yet, and it's got limited time because
Odyssey's out like in
less than 7 days. Oh, actually, no, 8 days.
Yeah, it's out soon.
Yeah.
And all those Assassin's Creed loot boxes to buy.
How do we get? Because you're just going to get Mario Odyssey digitally.
That's probably what I'll get. Yeah.
But how are you going to download it?
Look, to be honest, given that I'm not a big Mario guy, I probably can wait till I get back.
James, are you sure? That doesn't seem like a good
I'm
idea.
pretty sure I can just wait till I get back.
James.
Paul, I didn't even really like Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, I think it's different.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think it's pretty different.
Okay.
Even though, like, I will.
I know they're
Galaxy
different games
as an amazing game.
Yeah, they're different things.
I think the appeal is a bit different to this one. This one's like exploring a world. Galaxy was still levels.
If I buy it physically, I have to take the Switch cartridge out.
Yeah.
My plan was to never ever take the cartridge out of my Switch.
What cartridge is in it now?
It's got Zelda. I don't want to take it out. The moment I take it out, I've crossed the line.
Put it away.
I've got to worry about carrying multiple.
That was a penis joke.
I have to worry about carrying multiple cartridges. And now it's a problem I have to solve. Where now it's not an issue. I just get digitally. I don't have to worry about tiny foul tasting things to lose.
Delicious. Yeah, we might have to go to a midnight launch down at PAX. I think it'll be Thursday night it comes out. I think it comes out on the Friday. So we can, because it'll be up at midnight on Thursday. We just go and drop by a game shop, pick up a copy, go home, play it for 10 and a half hours. At which point we go, shit, we're supposed to be hosting a panel.
Yeah.
And then because I'm hosting and don't need to really, after I start it going, I don't need to talk much more. I play it whilst in the MC stand.
Okay.
And you guys just talk
about whatever. Yeah.
Talk about the weirdest games of all time. Which is our
Friday panel. It's a Friday panel. You should come to it. Yeah.
Here's a spoiler. It doesn't include Space Dude.
Oh, you took it out, did you?
Yeah, it's not that weird of a game. It was I made a little intro movie and I had to go like, okay, games that look weird but aren't in anyone's list. You know what the very first game that just came to mind of like a weird visual that I needed to put in? Techromancer, Bullin' and Pullin' being able to fire a passenger train as a weapon.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's it. You know what? Try to get all this game because I couldn't get footage directly off the Dreamcast easily. So I'm like looking for people's footage and everything. I just want that 2 seconds of them firing a train.
Couldn't find it?
Yeah, it's just not a move that people do very often. I did find it eventually, but like I would watch like entire playthroughs of the entire game and they would not do the move. I'm like, it's a fucking train move. Do the train move. It's amazing. It's a robot that fires a train.
Yeah.
How can you not want to see that over and over? And then it goes around on the ground and it's a hazard on the ground. Man, Techromancer was a pretty cool fighting game.
I really want a Dreamcast Mini. Really want it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen though.
No, because Sega's not good at doing it. They licensed it out to kind of cheap companies.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of the minis and everything, the SNES Mini, I hacked mine.
Yep.
I don't have any problem saying that. I think Nintendo's more than aware.
I think given they put a little helpful message on there to say have fun.
It is incredibly simple to do. You just, I think you can do it on Mac as well, but it's command line. There's no GUI for it. But on PC, you just download a program. You plug in, just because it's powered by USB and it also takes data over that. You plug it into your PC and then the program can upload and download games to it.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's very, very simple.
And there were some which weren't supported.
Yes, not every game works on it. And the thing is, I was like, but then all the games I was putting on the games have got downstairs anyway. Like, just go get the card. But it's because it's got, it's HDMI and it's small and I can carry it around.
There are firmware updates, right? Like you can put your own firmware on it.
Yeah. You can actually put different emulators on it as well. So those games that don't run, you can actually just install a different emulator and they will run.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. If they'll just be like someone will figure out how to get it on there.
But even if you don't, even if you're like, no, it's actually, no, frankly, even if I own the game, I don't want to, a ROM is still technically illegal. I don't want to do that. That's fine. I respect that as an opinion. But the one thing that you still want to do is you can make the reset button also map to a combination of buttons on the controller.
Yeah, no, that
so instead of having to walk up and push reset every time you want to access the save game states or something like that, you can just, the default is that you hold down and select at the same time, and you hold that down and it pushes the reset button. The fact that they could just hack that in so easily, like 2 weeks afterwards, and they probably had the same hack on the NES Mini. I didn't check because I didn't have a NES Mini. It's great. It's just like that just fixes the big functionality problem of the SNES Mini, which is good. It's great. It's nice.
Yeah, it's good. It's good that they didn't try to put two like barriers up for that. Like it's
yeah. I mean, from all intents and purposes, it's exactly the same it's exactly the same hardware as the NES Mini. So they already knew what everything was. They just had to sort out a few things with file formats and how we're going to transfer this and set it up, and it seems pretty solid. I don't think it's particularly risky at all. And the fact that it is, I mean, Nintendo, the design of this to have the power cable also be a data transfer cable into actual, like it made it easy for them to set up as well, I guess. But you don't do that if you're trying to lock down a system. That's just,
I don't think they've got a lot to gain by
no, because they're not selling games. They're simply selling hardware and nostalgia with that.
I think if it was a platform where you could go on and purchase things, and maybe, but
so before we wrap up, you've been playing a bit of Destiny 2.
Oh yeah, I wanted to have a bit of a rant.
Oh good,
but I'll keep it small. Okay. No, it actually kind of loosely connected to the things we'll talking about, loot boxes and kind of things like that. So
we don't need to say anything then. We've already covered it.
No, it was more like so there's been a decent like string of events in Destiny. So there was the faction war, which was a few weeks ago, where you picked like one of three sides. It's a bit basically like Splatfest. Yeah. So they had a thing like that. And the thing they had last week was Iron Banner. And Iron Banner is a PvP focused event, runs for a week with some really cool gear. That's like basically if you play a lot, you earn coins, and it's pretty generous with them. You get 20 of these coins. You get like basically 5 for a win, 2 for a loss. But then there's like daily challenges where they give you 15. So it's like cool. All right, so you can get these things. They're not crazy to get. You then get a random chance at a piece of gear. There's 5 main pieces for equipment to get like the full set. And there's like this like big week challenge of like hand in 10 of these engram things, and you have like the big challenge for the week. Like okay, cool. Like compared to like how grindy other things have been, this seems okay. I enjoy playing the game anyway, so I'm just going to kind of play it a bunch and get these coins and get these engrams. I ended up handing in I think 23 of them. So I played a lot. I did my dailies every day. I then played a bunch after that because I enjoy playing it. I
mean that is still the number one reason why you should be doing it.
I enjoy playing the game. It turns out actually I'm not terrible. That's the other thing. Like, you know how I'm generally not that good at shooters?
Unless it's Duke 3D.
In Destiny, I had a KD rating in one game of 14. Like
that is not what I expect from James.
My average is I get at least 1. I'm often 2, 3. Yeah. Sometimes 4, sometimes 5. Like, I'm not terrible at the game. So I enjoy it.
14 is good by anyone.
14 was a bit nuts. Like after doing all that, there was still 2 pieces of gear I couldn't get to complete the full set because it's totally random. And so this is where like they could have monetized this. They could have gone, you go buy these Crucible or these Iron Banner engrams and you can get the gear you want. But no, you can only do it through a time limited event. And I can't get the gear now. Like, it's done. It's dusted. Lasted a week. I put a lot of time in, Paul. I just wanted the hat, the cool looking hat.
You didn't get the hat?
I got the chest piece. The chest piece at least is good, but I didn't get the hat.
That's so important.
They did a Facebook post on the Destiny Facebook page about like, hey, today's your last chance to get like this gear. There was about 300 posts in it, all angry.
Yeah.
Like, I've got 1 day left. There were people who have like, I've handed in like 25 of these things and I've got like the same gun 6-7 times in a row. It's like, what the hell is going on? Like, if you're going to run these, like, you'd think like, all right, runs for a week. How about maybe it reaches a point where like you've put in, 20, you probably at this point should have everything.
Maybe they should take some tips from this game, Astro Attack.
Yeah, I have a streak breaker.
Real clever guy programmed.
Yeah, handsome gent.
He was inspired by some guy with great, worthwhile ideas.
Yeah, totally not worthless at all. Good ideas. That was my rant anyway. Like, it's
a good rant.
They could have monetized it. They could have gone, but they didn't. They just did it bad.
Damn monsters.
But then I went back and played more PvP anyway because I enjoy the PvP.
Yeah. I mean, are you going to buy it on PC?
I don't know. I've actually... Because I'm kind of done with Destiny. Like, I've reached the point now where my light level is so high, any progression I get's quite small.
But think of all the hackers that'll be on PC.
Yeah, well, it's going to be like, because it's like not server hosted. Like it's going to have like.
Oh, that's right, it's not, is it?
Yeah, it's peer to peer.
Man, they're gonna. Oh, this is gonna be fun. I didn't even think about this properly. Like I was like, oh, yeah, they'll be hacking, but now you point that out.
Yeah, it's like,
oh my.
Yeah, no, they'll be.
Oh my.
Oh my.
I mean, there are already things I was here, like Destiny 1, where people were like competitively, like deliberately, like causing lag and everything, because it was often like if you were the host and you caused lag, you get an advantage.
I do occasionally see, because I have played a lot of PvP. I do occasionally see some things where I'm like, is that lag or is someone like I'm seeing people jumping around a lot? Yeah, I don't know. Like it's a little bit fishy. Like it's. I don't see that.
You think that's fishy?
Yeah.
Wait till you
wait for the PC version. Yeah. I have to say, like
why is there dragons in here now?
the PvP is really well balanced for like the light level. It honestly doesn't matter. The vast, like I could say about a third of the time I've played in Crucible, I made a new character, I finished the tutorial, I unlocked Crucible, kept on the lowest gear I could, and just play that. And I often like hit the top ranks of the leaderboard. Like they've done a good job at smoothing things out.
Brag some more.
I will. Did you like my humble brag?
Yeah.
I'm not even that good. The matchmaking is doing a pretty good job at kind of like smoothing me out now. Like there was this while where it's like I was kind of climbing the top of the leaderboard all the time. It's actually getting a bit boring. But now it's like no, James. You get other people who you know are better than you. So it's done a decent job at. What are you? Oh, ideas are worthless. You're writing this thing down. So what you write a piece of paper? What are you writing? Yeah,
that's just an episode title ideas.
Yeah. It's a terrible idea. It's worthless.
Yeah. It doesn't really. It really only refers to one single event in the episode, which I enjoyed it quite a lot.
Are you going to get Destiny 2 on PC?
Oh, one day.
When it's $20. When Game of the Year edition comes out.
$20. 10, 15, man. And the thing is it's true, because I quite enjoyed playing the Destiny 2 beta. I think it'll have fun, but I also know the kind of person I am, and I am going to play through the single player, and that will be it.
You know, if you drop $15, $20 on that, the single player is decent.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I think. Yeah. It's like it sounded like it was a good enough campaign that it would be worth my time to do that. Yeah. And I don't give crap about anything else, but that's
PvP.
all right.
You might like it okay. Like it's solid. The moment-to-moment in Destiny is really good. I wish the moment-to-moment in Battle Chasers was good. Then I might have liked it more.
I've heard about that game.
Yeah. Apparently I said it looked pretty a lot. That's because that was really the most praise I could give it.
I realized I didn't really talk much about Stardew Valley, but people know what that is.
Yeah.
It's a farming game.
Yeah, it's a farming game. It works well on Switch. It's a good port. Multiplayer's not there yet.
No. That'll be interesting to see when it comes in. We can
That's probably when I'll play it. When multiplayer's there. Actually, speaking of games which like they come out and like they came out other things, and then like now wait for the Switch. I've now realized that Escapist 2. The Escapist 2 is definitely like fuck it, we'll play when it comes to Switch.
Is it coming to Switch?
Yeah, it's coming to Switch.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because like I can see us holding that, playing multiplayer would actually be really cool.
Yeah, that could be really fun.
So I think that's going to be added to my wait for Switch list. I'm pretty sure it's coming. Now I'm doubting myself, but I'm pretty sure it's coming to Switch.
That's all right. Okay, so thank you for watching or listening to 8.5bit. You can catch it at our website, 8.5bit.com, our Twitter and Facebook. Please, if you're coming to PAX, come and see us. You don't have to come and see the show. Just come and say hi. We'll be on the floor. We're pretty recognizable because I'm big, fat with squinty eyes, and James is short with a hat.
A dumb hat. I'll have a new hat because that's what I do every PAX.
He just goes by a new hat, wastes my time for like an hour while he's like, "Oh, do I look fat in this hat?" It's like, you look fat in every hat. Because you're a fatty. But not as fat as me, that's why I can say it.
That's how it works, is it?
Unless you're one of us, you can't say it. Also, James isn't really particularly fat at all. I'm compensating for my terrible existence.
Personality? Existence?
Oh, no, personality.
Face?
Personality is so flawed too.
I forgot about the personality, damn it.
I wish everyone else would forget about the personality. Maybe it has some real friends. PAX. Come to PAX. It's fun. Ideas are worthless. Thank you for watching.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, yeah. I've been your host, Paul. And you've been?
James.
That's good. Okay. What's your pick of the week?
Pick of the week now. Definitely not Battle Chasers. I just feel like it's too hard on it. Like it just was kind of
Untitled
boring.
Goose Game?
Oh, Untitled Goose Game. Yeah, that game was.
And I'll say Hat in Time. You want to click us off for the third time? And goodbye. The best kind of episode ending.